Spring has sprung. Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table. Today we are going to be making something that's a little bit lighter and would be just really good for when it starts to warm up. We've already experienced some really warm weather in April and this will be a good dish for when you've got a really hot day. Sometimes we just don't want a really heavy meal in the evening when it's been so hot, especially if you're somebody who works outside. So we had really good feedback on the last salad that we did when we did Lauren Lane's salad. And this one I thought would be a good, just another one to throw into the mix. So this is a roasted carrot salad, which what I love about this is the focus of this dish is on those carrots. So we are actually using 2 pounds of carrots, and this is what the majority of the salad will be. We do also have some greens, of course, because it's a salad, it's gonna have greens in there, but the base of the salad is carrots. So we're just go ahead and start getting those chopped up. I did not peel these. I did rinse them really well, but I did not peel them. It's totally preference. If you want to peel your carrots, you can kind of do it however you would like, but I don't really feel, since we're roasting them, that it's necessary for us to also peel them. So I just rinsed them really well, and then I'm actually gonna cut them into smaller pieces, definitely cutting off that end. And I usually check to see if both ends look okay. I'll cut off the green top, but if the other end kind of looks gross, sometimes I'll cut that as well. But I'm just cutting them long ways and then cutting them in half. The top part of the carrot that's a little bit thicker, I'm actually quartering that. So cutting it in half and then cutting that in half again. So lots of chopping here. It's really helpful if you have a nice big sharp knife to use. But your goal here is to get your carrots consistent in terms of their size. That way they will all cook properly. So like this one is really, really thick compared to the other ones. I'll probably cut this into 8s just to have a consistent size. And I love that this recipe roasts the carrots. They use the roasting technique. Roasting is cooking foods at a higher temperature. And then we also want to not have your food that's on your baking sheet touching, because that will start steaming your vegetables versus roasting. Roasting does help to kind of give more of a char, a crunch, and so it gives a totally different flavor to your vegetables, which is what I prefer. I think it tastes so, so good. I would prefer to roast all of my vegetables if I could. Really, it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but sometimes we're pressed for time, and that's just what we don't have time to do that. But I like to actually roast a big pan of vegetables for the week, and that way I can just throw it into different recipes throughout the week. I know I've talked about that on the show before, but if you do like roasted carrots, you can throw those into a stir fry. You can, sometimes I'll put roasted cauliflower in my tacos, and that's really tasty. So you can do all kinds of stuff, and it's a great way to up those veggies, but still have really good flavor. So we've got a good bit of carrots here already, as you can see. And then all we're really putting on these is a little bit of olive oil, and we'll salt and pepper them as well. And then we're gonna be roasting them as well with almonds. So that'll help give them kind of a nutty flavor too. And if you're ever using nuts in any recipe, it does help if you can either toast them, so put them in a dry skillet and kind of toast them that way on a lower heat, or put them in the oven and cook them the way that we are doing them today. It does just help to bring a different flavor out of those nuts. So you'll get a different flavor with your dish just by doing that. So there's just all kinds of ways that you can kind of change up your recipes based on how you cook things. Even if it's the same foods, if you cook them a little bit differently, you get different flavors, and it just helps to change up what you're eating. And I think this dish would be really fun to do if you had a variety of different colored carrots. I know at some grocery stores, I have seen the bags of the different colored carrots, so purple and yellow and orange. And I just think that would be really fun to do a whole salad with just different colors. Different colors, regardless of the fruit or vegetable, do have different health benefits for us. So by changing up some different colors, it does help to change up your nutrient value that you're getting from those. So we are gonna get these on the pan, and then we'll see you guys back in just a second before we can throw them in the oven.
Whether you're returning from a family vacation, coming back from college, or even returning from serving our country, we know there's no place like home. And here at Performance Ford, we want to make sure you get there. That's why every Performance certified vehicle comes with the Performance Lifetime Powertrain Warranty. Performance Ford, welcome home.
Introducing the Star Communications app. All the tools you need in one convenient location. You can access Watch TV everywhere. Check local channel lineup. Check your Star email. View and pay your Star bill. Report troubles. Use your Star Security app. Check your home voicemail. Sign up for Crowd Fiber. Check your Wi-Fi speed. The list keeps going and going. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play.
All right, so I went ahead and did our garlics. We had 2 cloves of garlic that I just chopped up. I was trying to find my little tool to use, but I could not find it in here. So you can just use a knife and a cutting board to chop up your garlic just the same. We do that rocking motion where we keep the tip of the knife on the board and just kind of rotate it through the garlic until you get it in those nice finely chopped pieces. So I'm just gonna kind of put this, sprinkle it, drizzle it as best as I can over my carrots here. And now the pan that I used for my carrots, I've used the biggest pan that I have here, and my carrots didn't quite all fit if I tried to not let them touch. So for today, we are just they'll be a little bit more steamed. They're not gonna be quite as crunchy as if we were able to leave them separated. Perfectly fine, but we are gonna want to stir these up halfway through the cooking process. Whereas if we let them all be separate, we might not have to you just put them in the oven, let them do their thing, and then pull them out when they're done. So because we did that, we'll have to stir these halfway through. Just showing you guys different things of ways you can do this. It's not always cut and dry that you have to do recipes and follow the rules of the recipe perfectly. Just do your own thing until it works for you. So I'm gonna sprinkle this over. This is 1/2 cup of sliced almonds. I did buy them already sliced. If you're wanting to save a little money, or you've just already got whole almonds in your pantry, you can put those in a food processor and grind them up a little bit, or chop them up if you can do it that way. So now I'm just gonna drizzle it with olive oil. This is probably maybe 1/4 cup of olive oil, maybe not quite. And then I'm gonna get my little spatula here and just stir those around. That way they're all getting nice and coated with that olive oil, and they'll all kind of crisp up a little bit more because they have olive oil on them. You could also do all this in a big bowl and just shake it up, or toss it all in a bag and do it that way. So just whatever works best for you. For cleaning purposes, just one pan seems to be the easiest, and not a whole lot for us to have to clean up after this. So that will be nice. All right, and I think that looks pretty good. So try to get some of the garlic and almonds off our spatula here. And then I'm just gonna shake it up, and we will go throw it in the oven. Our oven's on 400. So we're gonna pop that in, and we're gonna bake this or roast this for about 30 minutes or so. It already smells so good. All right, so we're moving over here next, actually. So while those are roasting, we're gonna skip over to our baked pork chop recipe. And I have some boneless pork chops here that are pretty thin as it is. If you'd like, you can kind of hammer these down so that they're thinner if you don't want them to be quite as thick. The recipe calls for them to be pretty thin, so personal preference. I like mine a little bit thicker, but these still are not super thick. So we're in good territory in terms of thickness here already. So just make sure they're boneless. This is about 1 pound of pork chops or 4 pork chops. So what we're gonna do first is we are actually using corn flakes in this recipe. And this is from our Cook Smart, Eat Smart program, and any of our Steps to Health cookbooks that we have. This recipe is in that. And your corn flakes serve as a nice little crispy, crunchy breading for your pork chops, so that you don't have to use actually breadcrumbs. So we are using like a cup of corn flakes. I'm gonna measure this as best as I can, but you could also eyeball this if you need to. And I'm actually just gonna throw this into a bag. I'll use all the little pieces I dropped. You make sure that you clean your countertop really well before you even get started. Then you don't have to worry about these pieces that have fallen and worry what's on your countertops. Word to the wise. All right, and then we're just gonna crunch them up. So it's nice to have them in the bag just because this is very easy to do. This is also a fun little task if you want to involve your kids into cooking at home. So you can give them a little task. They love little meticulous things like this where they can just squeeze and crunch and make all the kind of noises. So this is a great task for children. So we're gonna finish getting these chopped up, and we will see you guys back in just 1 second.
Getting a new car or truck doesn't have to be difficult or expensive. Just let Performance Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram swap keys with you. Bring in your current vehicle, we'll swap keys and get you into a new car with Performance Peace of Mind lifetime powertrain warranty for the same or less than you're paying now. We've got a lot full of vehicles to choose from, and there's never been a better time to shop than the Start Something New sales event. It's about performance, and performance is taking care of you.
Many things have been stolen away during this time of uncertainty. No crowds to cheer on their favorite teams. Applause and pageantry have been stripped away. Thieves are looking to make your home empty and silent. Star Communications has the answer you are looking for. Security by Star. Automation and affordability along with friendly service makes for a security choice that is sure to keep your family cheering.
All right, so our cornflakes are nice and crunched up. We are gonna add our seasonings next. So we have half a teaspoon of paprika, and we're just gonna throw that in the bag here, and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I will mention, corn is typically, the form of it that it comes in is more of a whole grain. So when you are eating anything that's corn-based, you can count that as more of a whole grain food. However, cornflakes do have a little bit of sugar in them. I need to look at the label to see how much, but you do have to take that into account. There are probably other options out there that could be a little bit healthier for you if you didn't want to buy the specific Kellogg's Corn Flakes brand. So next, just doing 1 egg, and we'll whisk that up. And I tried to get a flat baking dish just because it is easier for me to dip my pork chops into this. So that's what we're gonna do next, is add in, our pork chops. Just move this out of the way. And you wanna get both of those sides nice and coated, and then throw them into your bag. Shake it up real good, and then we'll pull it back out and put it on our pan over here, which I forgot to spray. So I'm gonna spray that real quick. Just a little bit of cooking spray so it won't stick. And we'll pull them out. And you got some nice little cornflake crusted pork chops. So this is really easy. You cook these for about 20 minutes at 350 in the oven. That way they'll get nice and crispy. The cornflakes do just help to crisp them up a little bit more, I feel like, than actually using breadcrumbs. So that is our major difference here. And you can use tongs if you don't want to be handling the meat and all of that stuff, but this just seemed like an easy option. I'll just wash my hands real good afterwards. So pork chops, if you are looking for kind of a leaner meat, pork chops do tend to be on the leaner side. So versus something like bacon or even some cuts of ham, you can start getting into kind of more fattier pieces that would be higher in saturated fat. So pork chops are a really great choice if you're looking for something that's still lean, but a little bit different than just chicken or like chicken breasts or something like that, chicken or turkey. So this is a good option for you in terms of saturated fat. And that's pretty much it. So very simple. Another one that would be probably fun with kids, you can have them shake up the bag. If you have a big enough bag, you could put all of the pieces in there. Just make sure that they all get pretty evenly coated when you are shaking those. All right, so we'll just trash that bag. That's the great thing about a bag. Now, if you are just trying to be a little bit more conscious about not using things that you'll have to throw away later, you can use Tupperware and just use a Tupperware that has a lid, shake it up that way. In terms of crunching or crushing up those cornflakes, you would have to do a little bit of a different technique. So we're actually just gonna go ahead and wash this stuff and get these in the oven, and then we'll see you guys back to finish up our salad and get that all done.
Sweetie, will you turn that down, please?
Keep life exciting, even when it's not. Watch TV everywhere from Star Communications.
After completing my contract, I still have to buy out of it? Come on. Here's your sign.
Switch to the sign that's keeping home secure and customers happy all over the area. Security from Star Communications. We pride ourselves on fair pricing and quick, friendly service every time.
Somebody try to break into this place?
Security from Star Communications.
All right, so we have our carrots done. They look absolutely delicious. And our pork chops are also done. I used our little thermometer here to double check them. They're actually at 167. And for pork, we only need it to be to 145. So we are well within the range of them being cooked all the way through. So that is good. What we have next is just finishing up that roasted carrot salad. So we are going to throw our, just gonna pick this, it's too hot now. And you do want your carrots to kind of cool off a little bit before you are putting them all in the bowl. But they are fully done. And we're just gonna be adding a little bit of vinegar, some salt and pepper, and a little bit of honey. And then we have a few other things to throw into our salad as well. This direction. And as I said, nuts do tend to cook really fast. So if I did start to check and half of my nuts were getting a little bit more toasted than I wanted to. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on those as you are cooking them through. So what we have next is we are going to add a little bit of vinegar and honey. So we have apple cider vinegar here, and we're just gonna be adding 2 tablespoons of that. This will kind of be like our dressing for our salad. And then we have a little bit of honey. We are gonna do about 2 teaspoons, and I'm just gonna kind of eyeball that. Now you can, you could absolutely do the honey in the oven as well. So when we put them on the pan, drizzle it with a little bit of honey and cook them that way. And that would give it really good flavor because it'll start to crystallize a little bit as it's cooking in the oven. So you could do that as well. I thought about doing that, but I thought, let's stick to the recipe, and it'll be just as good that way as well. So you've got a couple options in how you can do this. Depends on how sweet you actually want these carrots to be. Carrots to me naturally have enough sweetness, and when you put them in the oven and roast them, they get even more of that sweet flavor naturally. So I didn't feel like we needed a ton of added sugar this time. Okay, what we have next is the rest of our ingredients. So we do have a little bit of feta cheese. Now our recipe called for blue cheese. I am not a blue cheese fan, so I just switched it out for some low-fat feta cheese. And it says about 4 ounces, which is, this thing I think is 6 ounces, so not quite the whole thing. And then we have dried cranberries or craisins. Now your craisins do have added sugar. I purchased the ones that are 50% less sugar, and the difference here is that they actually use a sugar substitute for half of that. So they do still add sugar to it, but then they do use a sugar substitute as well. So that way it's not quite as high in added sugar. It is very unlikely that you will find craisins or cranberry raisins, dried cranberries, that do not have sugar added to them, because cranberries are naturally very tart, and so you have to have a little sugar in those to balance them out. So if you are concerned with added sugar, you're trying to drop that back a little bit, just use a different dried fruit. You could do regular raisins here, but I like the mix of craisins with carrots. I think that they go together really, really well. But again, you have options. All right, and then we're just gonna be doing a little bit of salt and pepper. Not much here, like 1/4 teaspoon, so just a sprinkle. And like 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That is plenty. My excess we'll throw in the sink there. And then last thing is our arugula. So we are gonna be using 3 cups of arugula, and that'll be, just gonna kind of eyeball it. This is about 1 cup. So almost this whole container. This is a total of 5 ounces. So this whole container is probably about 4 cups. But you have a little extra left over, you could throw that on a sandwich or make a different type of salad with mixed greens. And then you just toss it all together. So you want to make sure that you get some of that vinegar and honey that you mixed earlier all on your greens as kind of a dressing. But it just looks so pretty already. And you've just got such good color. This makes me think of a spring salad. This just looks like spring to me. And it, I'm sure, will help to taste like spring. And we are just welcoming spring as we're getting nice and this nice warm weather coming in. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this. Looks so yummy. We can't wait to try it here. And we've got our pork chops too. This is a great meal to finish up with, finish your day up with, nice and light. You've got lots of vegetables, and we are still, of course, being mindful of those other things we talk about, that sodium, that added sugar, using those whole grains, using that leaner cut of meat. So I hope that you guys will enjoy this. Next up, we have our Med Instead of Med series that we will be doing, and I have a special guest who's joining me with that. So we hope that you guys will like that. We'll see you all back next time.